Morning guys, hope you're doing well. This video is going to be broken down into three parts. We've got the Risk Calc, which we can see in front of you, and we can see what's going on in the world in terms of risk appetite. So it's very powerful. It's good to know where the crowd stand when it comes to risk on, risk off. What's actually happening is that US 30 is skewing this. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Second part is on the POC EA, which is the point of control. We encountered loads of small losses, and we just churned yesterday on dollar pairs. And so what I think we need is a trend filter and maybe a directional filter as well. So we have to be trending in order for us to get the setup. If we're going sideways, we are going to encounter losses. And then the last one is about the ZigZag retracements, which is just I made a doc, which I'll talk about. So hopefully this video is going to be no longer than 10 minutes, okay? We can see that the crowd aren't that long. We had a big crash on the VIX, which is totally, as expected. Some good news came out, and so obviously the VIX got crushed, and we had a nice performance on the US indices yesterday. They had quite a pump from that VIX reaction. So let's have a look at, we'll look at gold, and then we can look at the indices, okay? And you unlock this at $5 a month on your light tier at Patreon. So it's going to be worth it, so you can get analysis every day. So we are very, very choppy, and it looks like we're trying to carve a bottom. For the price section, it looks like we're doing this, doesn't it? It has moved up quite a bit higher. It moved up $10 higher since I made this 30 minutes ago. And the thing is with gold, we've got lots of supports below. And if we break this one, we'll have one at 4,800 and then 4,600. So, we are going to be coming down into supports. And right now we're kind of sandwiched. And I'm not going to trade this until Powell's speech, I think, and I did really well. I caught that nice move. We had this move up higher, and I shorted it and made like $37 on an okay size. So that's gold. US 500. Now you'll see that they're shorting, so that should be like a near-term bottom. Up we go. That's good. That will be normal. And what isn't normal, which is quite frustrating, is the Dow, the US 30. They're trying to buy this. So they bought here, so reaction. They're trying to buy, reaction. They shorted it. Up we go. Another long, the long end. So we're probably going to come down. Now they're treating this like it's a crypto. They're doing a thing called a HODL. Hold on for dear life. They may be okay, but you can see what's happening. There's the crossover here, the SSI MA crossover. They started buying up here. All right, we've got the box, we've got a punishment zone. So we need then to get out, we may need to flush on the US 30. So we're not out the woods yet. Okay, so we're definitely not that bullish on this one. We may need to fall. And DAX is good because they started to sell, and that will be normal. And they're getting punished for using common sense. Okay, so there's the risk appetite. Let's talk about the POC EA. And so what we do, so we've got these volume nodes. Okay, so we've got this, and what we want is price to do this. So let's say, for example, this is like the Euro USD, and we're doing this. We want like price to come down first in order to get a decent buy, and then we do that. Okay, that's the logic of buying when we're below the midpoint, the POC midpoint. Okay, and likewise it would be this. All right, so in order to sell, we want to get a price higher up. Okay, and so the thing is with dollar pairs, like I say, yesterday we had a lot of churn. And what actually happened is that we did this, and we didn't actually do like much breakout, and we just -1R, which is another way of saying stop loss, -1R, -1R, and we just kept doing that. And it happened I think 3-4 times on one pair, so that isn't great. Even though we've got a 5R, we run the risk of it not being profitable. So what I'm going to suggest, and this is the reason why I'm going to be busy today, is that we have we're going to implement a triple EMA filter. So just like we've got on the Google Sheets, and then we'll just have to like we'll just enter in the trend. Okay, so maybe this is a bit slower. Okay, we have to do that again, and then so we're only going to open up buys. So this, what we'll do, we'll probably do the 8, which is like really fast, 21 and 50. Okay, and so price will have to be above all three, and they need to be in alignment. They can't be mixed. So this is what I'm going to do is had a trend filter for the POC EA, because we encountered that churn like I showed you. At least with this, it'll go, right, well, I'm not going to look for sales. I'm still going to try and get a discount buy where it does this on the POC, and but it's only going to look to do that. Okay, so the lastly is the the ZigZag document which I need to get. I bring that across. No, it won't let me. That's fine. I've got to do my VPN. Oh, this is kind of annoying. Right. Ugh. What's going on here? Oh no. I need to. Oh, jeez. This is painful. Sorry about this, you guys. Cool. Right. Right. So what I was thinking. So we've got this indicator. So what we need to do, what we want to do is try and get a better entry in a nutshell. And this indicator will tell you an overarching view of the bias. So, you know, if we're red across the board, then it's quite bearish, okay? And now we want to pay particular attention to H4D1. If they're saying sell, what we want is ideally we get these to go green, and then we get that move there, right? So you're looking to sell, pending that we're bearish, but you kind of want to get a retracement before entry. So you could have entered here on the 0.05, which is very, very small micro lot. Yesterday, that would have been probably £200. So that's like 10 months of Patreon subscription in that move. So it was quite expensive. So you want to be waiting and being patient and getting a better entry. So that's your overarching bias, right? You're looking to sell, but ideally you can use this indicator just to give you like an insight about the short term, the low time frame retracements, okay? And that's the better entry. You can enter there knowing that the price was going to fall, but surely it's better to get a better higher up and then short. So conclusion, identify the prevailing trend bias, which is that, and then you're waiting for low time frame retracements for optimal entry. That's certainly a more optimal entry than there, because if you think, well, let's say that's like the TP, you haven't really made that much profit, whereas that is a chunk of profit. And what you want to do is when you have this retracement, try and get a decent stop loss, not too wide, because we've already done that move, like that zigzag. We've already done that zigzag, okay? So you don't need like a massively wide stop, because we've already done what you could probably call a fake move in speech marks, but it's not. It's just a retracement to get a higher up position in order to sell. And so I did quite well. So I waiting for this £944, okay, and that was $34. From there to there was $34 in gold price, but I had a 0.36 lot, and that's nearly £1,000. Just being patient and waiting for a better entry. So you could enter there, and it just wouldn't have been as profitable. It's better to wait until you get that. So for the indicator, this is in Discord. It's version 1. It's still very, very basic, but simplicity is probably the key. and then you're waiting for these to go green and then flash back red, and then you're going to enter. So at this point, the M1, M5, M15 were green, and at that point the M1 went back red, and then that confirmed to the D1, and I put that into Discord and I talked about it in Discord. So basically what happens, why price moves in zigzags, is because we have impulse moves, okay? And remember, it's a zero sum game. There has to be losers and there has to be winners, okay? So it's that constant dynamic going back and forth, okay? And these retracements happen when we have an imbalance and it temporarily cools off. Profit taking, liquidity hunts, or counter trend participants stepping in. So that was slightly counter trend. Well, actually that was in the trend, but we had that, and now at that point people would have bought there, okay? So that was the counter trend move there, okay? And they got punished, okay? So the trouble is the price action, it makes it look like price is going to go higher in order to induce buyers. It's very cruel, but we see it a lot in Discord. You can just check it out, and it tells you trend structure, and zigzags make this structure obvious. And also it's quite useful if you use fibs as well. You can check out the strength of that retracement. So this would have been probably a 38.2, maybe a 50% on that leg. If we go higher, it may be legit. We may continue higher, okay? But we didn't get to the 61.8, for example. You know, we had a nice retracement. It wasn't too high. It was just like in a sweet spot, okay? And so this is a good dark. You know, you can check momentum, and of course there's the psychology of it as well. The FOMO that comes into play a lot. Oh God, I've got to sell. I've got to sell here because price is really falling. And at that point, oh my God, why has it gone against me? Why am I in drawdown? I need to get out. Stop loss. Oh, now it's falling. What the hell? And that's the point. That's part of the parcel, is the psychological tricks that they do. And so there we come. It's really cool. And yeah, we can also detect where we are on the trend. You know, are we trending? Check out the zigzags. It's a good indicator to have. Also, you can use the zigzags for harmonics as well, which is probably out the scope of this because I just want to talk about zigzags, but you can use them for harmonics as well, and they can be very powerful. And so I just got a notification on my other screen. So that's it. So I'll probably crack on with the POC EA. This is going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to remove the forward tests because at the moment we don't really want that churn. We don't want to have multiple small losses. It's just not good for confidence. And also, if we have all these losses, we need to make sure that we get that ambitious TP, but we might not get that ambitious TP of a 5R because of the central banks, you know, the interest rate decisions from the central banks this week, and we're just going to see chop. So that's the video today. It's a good doc. It was a great day yesterday. I did quite well. Really, to be honest with you, that's probably sufficient for a week. I don't really need to trade for the rest of the week. Just by having a bit of patience, you got a good entry, and down we came. So there's the video today. It's a long video, so hopefully it was useful. And I'm going to be busy, like I say. Just remember to trade safely, and we've got the FOMC tomorrow with Powell as well. And don't forget, we've got a Powell speech on Saturday. So, you know, you've got to be careful. I wonder what he's going to say for that. It will probably be to do with inflation and Iran. So just trade safely, and I'll speak to you guys soon.